Good evening. Today is February the 15th, 2023. So we're going to start our moral class today. And today we're going to be talking about the fundamental kindness for the human being called 孝. So let's first go over the Chinese characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flat, up, down and up, and down. First Chinese character. You write like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is 知, 翁, 中,
中
yeah. 中 truly means loyal. Loyalty. Yeah. 中. Next one is this word. 西, 孝.
孝
Yeah, it's basically
忠孝
Philia. Yeah. Next is 大.
大
Da means great. This word we already know many times. It's a very beautiful word. 道. Yeah. The way.
达道
大道. Yeah.
大道
知翁中.
中
孝
孝
的阿大.
大
的凹道.
道
忠孝大道.
忠孝大道
忠 is loyalty. This word contains the top part. This up part means middle. The bottom part means heart. Now, this Chinese character basically is referring to a state of conduct. You know, the human behavior, the relationship nature. What kind of relationship it is? Usually it's the leader and the one who are, under. So in a nation, you have the king and the officials. In the company, you have the, president versus the officers. So you have like army. Army, you have the commander and the soldiers, right?
Yeah.
So usually it has a relationship of power, that a higher power versus a lower power. A higher responsibility versus a lower responsibility. The head versus the leg and the hand. Okay. So the relationship between, the commander, the head, and the arms and the legs, there is a principle, there is a nature of that relationship. You see, when we walk, it's not that our leg order our head, it's our head order our leg, correct?
Correct.
When our head order our leg to do certain things, the leg cannot refuse to do it. And the order is best carried out by the leg when the leg, 100% loyal to the head. Okay. So this is basically, I think, the nature, referring to that kind of special relationship. That's called a 忠. Okay. The next word is 孝. Now this word has this very obvious character of 子 means children. 孝 definitely is a Chinese character, refers to the responsibilities of children. Okay. When we say children, then we're talking about a relationship between parents and children. Okay. So what's the nature of the relationship between parents and children? The parents, they deliver this, next generation into the world. That's a very, sacred process. For two people, a male and a female, man and woman, to, journey, to hold hand and to become one. And then, heaven bless this, couple of husband and wife with, a beautiful new life. So the child basically carries, the heaven's blessing. And the child comes into the world. And so before you have only two people, the father and the mother, and now you have the third person, that's the son or daughter. So before, husband and wife have a relationship, and there is a moral for that bond of husband and wife. Now when you have a third person joining, these two people, and that person is called a child, a son and a daughter. So when there's a third party joins this, group interaction, then there is a new principle that is directly applied onto this third party. Okay, so how this third party shall interact with the parents? So there is a heaven's discipline, heaven's law that is given to these children, to the children. So the children must follow the heaven's arrangement and to behave following this word called 孝. Now, 孝, what does it mean, 孝? Modern people really need to be educated about, this word, 孝. Most people don't understand how to be filial. English is called philia, Filial, in Chinese traditional culture, the little children, when they started as 3-year-old, they start to receive education. And the education of the 3-year-old contains this word called 孝. To tell the little 3-year-old what is a proper behavior as a human being in this whole world. And the first most important relationship that a little child needs to learn is how to talk to the parents, how to greet the parents, right? And then how to answer the parents' call. When you communicate, it's about talk to each other. So when the parents call the child to do something, what is the filial behavior? The child needs to very quickly, go to the parents and listen very carefully with full respect, So in both Chinese culture and the Korean culture and, a lot of traditional culture, especially Chinese culture always talk about like in the morning time, the children go to greet the parents. And, evening time, the children also, say goodnight to the parents. And throughout the day when the parents need anything, as long as the parents call the children to do something, the children need to very quickly, follow that order and do the best. And the child also need to put the heart into serving the parents' need whenever they can. Help the parents to take care of chores at home, like prepare the table, clean up the house, right? Put out the garbage, those are all very fundamental things that when the children is already to an age that can shoulder some responsibilities to take away the burden of life from the parents, the children need to do the best to take away the burdens of life from the parents and try to show gratitude to the parents, because the parents, after giving birth to the children, they starting to pretty much get into a stage of aging, and the physical body will not be as strong as before. And so when the children rise to the age of 18 or 19 years old, it's exactly the time that the children is all strong and the parents starting to become weak. So, this very good, age relay that when the parents physically no longer able to sustain at the, maximum operational level, the children need to catch up and replace the parents to take over the responsibilities of house, home, especially the son need to really take over, father's business, right? And the daughter need to help the mother, to take care of household responsibilities. So those are the very basic, definition of being filial. So the traditional way of living is that the children and always, live with the parents. And when the parents, getting old, especially this filial, this word is extremely important because, when parents getting old and sick, the children, if they're not there, the parents will suffer. But if they have children by their side, the children will very quickly be able to take care of those aspects of life. So that's why, for a human being journey, through the entire life of birth, aging, sickness, and death, and it's all very nicely arranged for the, good parents to have good children by the side to take care of the rest of, their journey. Until their, moment of departure, from the human world. And usually that's also a very critical moment that the children must be by the side of the parents when the parents are ready to departure. Take the spirit leaves the body, and at that very, last moment, usually the children are supposed to be all there, so that the parents can give their last lessons to the children, and making sure that their unfulfilled responsibilities in the human world are very nicely relayed to the next generation of the children who will be able to complete, their responsibilities. So this is really, a family heritage, one generation after another. The legend of the previous generation is passed on to the following generations. And with that very wonderful practice of filial of the children towards the parents, this is, basically made possible. So this is very essential for the health of the human society. And so when children, fail the duty of being filial, the parents suffer. And the parents, heritage, the treasure, the wealth of all different levels cannot be inherited by the children. And the children fail to inherit the wonderful gifts from the parents, and the parents fail to complete their legend. And this, without the practice of xiao. Okay, so that's why in the human world, these two words, zhong and xiao, represents very central principles of human life. Because in the family, you need to have the xiao, and in outside of the family, in the bigger, in the small family it's xiao, but in the big family of a nation, in the extended family of a company, you have this relationship of higher versus low. And this again, this zhong loyalty assures, that same kind of, mission. A nation, right? You have the emperor, the king, who is just like the head of the whole body. And the emperor sent out the order, to do certain things for the benefit of the people, and you need to have a group of people to execute that order. And those people who executed the order, just like in the army, the soldiers, right? You follow the commanders, chief. And in the company, you have the CEO, right? The president, determining the direction of the company. And in order to allow the company to be successful, allow the nation to be strong, allow the family to be strong and healthy, these basically are the two key morals that assure, the wonderful, existence of all those entities in the human world, which are the fundamental cells of the human society. So that's why, zhong and xiao, it's immediately follow these two words. It's called 大道. Okay. basically in all great spiritual teachings, Dao basically means, you know, the way, usually refers to spiritual way, okay? Allow human being, you know, to follow the way and to do the righteous things, right? So it's basically saying that, you know, these two moral of loyalty and filial, that each one of us really need to consider it to be very central in terms of our spiritual practice in the human world, okay? So it's called 忠孝大道. Yeah, if you look at the any spiritual school, right now, you know, if you look at the Christians, you know, all different kind of religions, you know, if they say that they follow God or they follow Buddha, you know, they follow some great enlightened being, and they think that they're going to be going to heaven. But if you look at their, you know, human conduct in the human world, and are they actually being able to, you know, fulfill these two words, moral? You pretty much can see how good they are in terms of their spiritual practice too. If they cannot really be a good human being in the human world, to be loyal and be filial, usually they are not a good spiritual practitioner either. They will fail in their spiritual practice as well. So this is really very, very important moral, okay? I already pause.